Welcome to The View, exploring truth in Jamaican politics. Join us as we dive deep into the heart of Jamaica's political landscape, unpacking the facts, challenging the narratives, and uncovering the truth behind the headlines. With expert analysis, bold discussions, and unfiltered perspectives, we bring you the conversations that matter. No spin, no bias, just real talk on the issues shaping our nation's future. Stay informed, stay engaged. This is The View, exploring truth.
Hey, viewers and subscribers, how are you today? Welcome one more time to The View. This is a space where we label ourselves as the space where we explore truth in Jamaica's political arena. And it has been an interesting week that has passed. So today, for this show, we are going to be looking at the closing of the 25-26 budget debate. Also, we have the Secretary of the United States, Marco Rubio, visiting Jamaica. And also, to close off the show, I will be looking at something that was said on the political stage in Western St. Thomas. The PNP recently had a meeting there where they were introducing their candidate who will be representing the party in the upcoming general elections. So, as usual, I want to say welcome again, and I am going to ask you to hit that notification bell, subscribe, share, okay, because we need your help to help build this platform. All right, so let's jump right into it. As we know that it is budget time, and we have presentations from the Minister of Finance, the Honorable FAVAL Williams. We had responses from our opposition counterpart, Mr. Julian Robinson, and the leader of the opposition, Mr. Mark Golding, followed by the Prime Minister. So then it was for Mrs. Williams to bring the budget debate to a close. She took aim at the PNP's presentation or contribution to the budget debate, and she labeled what they did as not offering any numbers, and I spoke about that last week. And I think the PNP, by not bringing numbers to show what they were proposing, really left themselves open. And I think the government, leading by Mrs. Williams, took that opportunity. So hear what Mrs. Williams had to say in the House in her closing.
Madam Speaker, this is a budget debate. And anything you put forward has fiscal implications. So, Madam Speaker, because I was interrupted, let me start again. Madam Speaker, allow me to demonstrate to the people of Jamaica that the promises from the opposition will create FinSAC 2.0. You see, Madam Speaker, the opposition put forward a lot of words with few figures, but within all those pages and pages and pages of words is a budget, an implied budget.
So, right off the bat, Mrs. Williams labeled the opposition's presentation as an implied budget. The proceeding got more interesting, and let's listen a little further to see what happened.
Madam Speaker, I rise. Yeah. Madam Speaker, I rise on a point of order because the minister is misleading the House. We did not present an implied budget for the coming fiscal year. We presented our proposals, our policy commitments for the next PNP government, and we have never said that they will be implemented in the current fiscal year. They are... As has been said, the budget, after today, the budget would have been passed for the fiscal year. Our proposals represent what we will be doing for the duration of our first term in office. And that is what we were saying. And they will all operate within the current fiscal rules. Stop misleading the House.
We are dismiss it. That is no point about it. Turn on our mic. A point of disorder. Julia.
So, viewers and subscribers, that was a very interesting moment. There you see the leader of the opposition. He got up on a point of order, and his point of order was to say that they did not present a budget. And again, I thought that this was a own goal. It would be better if Mr. Golden did not say anything, because here he exposed himself. Because viewers and subscribers, let's face it, as the minister said, it is a budget debate. So if it is a budget debate, then you expect a budget. You are not really, and yes, both sides use the budget to put forward their policies. But in a budget debate, you are expecting to hear how these things are going to be funded. And the PNP did not come to the wicket prepared, and because of that, they were left to FAVAL Williams basically putting numbers to what they proposed and calling it or implying that it could be FinSac 2.0 and stuff. So the PNP was made to defend what was. So they had a press conference the following day. But viewers and subscribers, in my view, say for instance, as we see, both Julian and Mark didn't come with numbers. I think right after the opposition leaders' presentation, they should have had that press conference the day after to explain what they present. Don't wait until the Minister of Finance come back to the Parliament and started labeling your presentation as an implied budget. Then you have to be on the defensive now, trying to correct what was said. So there you have it. The budget was passed, and let's see. I think we will having the sectoral debates now to follow, and so forth. Next up on the show today, viewers and subscriber, was the visit of the U.S. Secretary of State to Jamaica, Mr. Marco Rubio. And this came on the heel of the U.S. making some announcement against the Cuban government regime, in which the United States is saying that they are going to impose sanction on any country who has medical contract with Cuba. They are saying that the Cuban medical personnel are being abused by the Cuban regime, and that they want that to be stopped. So they will be sanctioning countries who has these arrangements. Now, if you know, countries like Jamaica and many other Caribbean countries have these type of arrangement because there's a shortage in medical personnel, especially nurses and doctors, because a lot of our nurses and doctors migrated to greener pastures in the US, the UK, Canada, and stuff. So because of that, there's always this arrangement with the Cuban government to have medical persons come to the Caribbean or these other islands to work. When the announcement was made, the Prime Minister of Barbados declared that she was willing to lose her visa because she was not going to give in to the demand of stopping the medical persons from Cuba who worked in Barbados. The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, or the former Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, made some comment also, and the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda also. So Jamaica's Prime Minister was being criticized. Some people saying that he doesn't have any balls or whatever and stuff. But when I heard it, I said to myself that the best route for something like this is proper engagement. Use the diplomatic challenge channels that are available to solve this. So not very long after it was announced that Secretary Rubio would be visiting Jamaica. And from all accounts, the visit was a very successful visit. And one YouTube blogger really sums it up. And I really want to hear what how this blogger sums up Secretary Rubio's visit to Jamaica, and just to show you what, with a level head and using the proper channels, what the result can be. So hear this report.
In a closed-door meeting in Kingston that could have gone terribly wrong, Jamaica stood firm and walked away with a win. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio came to Jamaica with questions, pressure, and a message. The United States has serious concerns about Cuba's medical program and the countries that benefit from it. The quiet threat, visa bans, economic pressure, punishment. But what happened inside that room likely surprised even seasoned diplomats. Prime Minister Andrew Holness didn't flinch. He calmly laid out Jamaica's case. We follow the law. We respect international labor rules. The Cuban doctors here are protected, respected, and most importantly, they're needed. And Rubio, he listened. That moment in Kingston flipped the script. Rubio admitted Jamaica's program is different. He promised to review it with fresh eyes. In short, Jamaica didn't fold and the U.S. backed off, at least for now.
This is not about doctors. This is not about the provision of medical assistance. We have no problem with medical assistance. We have no problem with doctors. We have a problem, and I'm not speaking about Jamaica. We've discussed this today about, following international labor standards and the like, but I'm just talking about this program in general, how it's operated around the world. And how it's operated around the world is that basically the doctors are not paid. You pay the Cuban government. The Cuban government decides how much of anything to give them. They take away their passports. They basically operate as forced labor in many places. Now, there are places that have better labor standards. Perhaps Jamaica is one of those, and that's fine. But I'm describing generally what the program has been. It has operated in that way in many parts of the world and placed these people in tremendous danger. And so I think we can all agree that the trafficking in labor, be they doctors or farm workers, is not something that we would want to be supportive of, and we find that to be an egregious practice on the part of the Cuban regime. Now, every country operates their program differently. And obviously, because of our relationship with Jamaica, we're going to engage with them on that and talk about it further and have a better understanding. Perhaps none of this applies in the way it's handled here, but generally, that's the problem with the program. It's not that they're Cuban doctors. It's that the regime does not pay these doctors, takes away their passports, and basically it is, in many ways, forced labor. And that we cannot be in support of. Again, not speaking about here in particular, but in general about the program.
Now,
so viewers and subscribers, in my view, this was what I considered a pretty successful visit / intervention by Jamaica's Prime Minister. From all account, as you hear in the clip, Secretary Rubio is promising that they are going to go back and look at what the arrangement that Jamaica has with the Cuban regime in terms of how the medical persons in Jamaica is being paid and things like that. So again, it shows leadership on the Prime Minister's behalf, just approaching a situation with a cool head and using diplomacy as which is the correct avenue that that we have when it comes on to situation like this. It makes no sense fighting with the US in a verbal war in the media space or whatever, because at the end of the day, if Andrew Holness decided that, oh, I I am going to do this and whatever, and then couple people start lose them visa, you know what? Everybody will be calling for Andrew's head, because nobody want to lose their US visa or stuff like that. So as I said, I give the Prime Minister full marks for his how he has gone about dealing with this situation. And I hope that going forward, they can come to some mutual agreement. Reports coming out of that meeting also was that the secretary promised to help to improve the investigative process that the JCF use. He also promised to help put a stop to the trafficking of firearms from the United States into Jamaica. And one important thing was those travel advisories that the United States would have issued against Jamaica. The secretary promised that when he goes back to Washington, they would look at them to bring that up to speed to what is happening in Jamaica presently with the reduction in crime, especially murders. So all in all, I would say it was a very, very successful visit to Jamaica. And look, viewers and subscribers, we can't take this for granted, because no lesser person than the Secretary of State chose to come to Jamaica to meet with our Prime Minister. That is respect and stuff. And we need not to take things like that for granted. All right. So moving on to my next point. And viewers and subscribers, this is what I created this show for. All right, and let me pause right here, because this is why I need your help. This is why you need to subscribe. This is why you need to share this channel with your groups, because things like these, you are going to help me to call out, because politicians must stop taking people for fool. Don't say things that you know you cannot do. Don't mislead. All right. So recently in St. Thomas, the PNP again was, they are introducing all of their candidates coming up for the elections. Both parties doing that now. But in Western St. Thomas, Mr. Hubert Williams, he is the person who will be going up against James Robertson. And Mr. Williams made what I call something that is wrong. He said something that is wrong. And I'm going to let you hear what Mr. Williams said, and then I'm going to play a few other clips, and then I'll comment. So here is Mr. Hubert Williams on the political platform.
The first thing we have to do is look to the hills. Those coffee farmers who's getting only $10,000. $10,000 a box for coffee. And I need this wicked Jamaica Labour Party government. And they have a lazy MP who's not saying nothing about it. We're going to fix that. When PNP leave office in 2016, coffee price was ranging between 14,000 and 16,000. Well, let's adjust that now for inflation, based on inflation. It will be about 22,000. Underneath my watch, no coffee farmer will receive less than $22,000 a box for coffee.
Bricks. Brick pam brick. Brick pam brick pam brick.
So, viewers and subscribers, Mr. Williams made a claim there. Mr. Williams say that if he should become the member of parliament for Western St. Thomas, he is going to make sure that no coffee farmers get less than $22,000 per box for coffee. Now, when I hear that, I was taken aback, because I was wondering how a politician is going to ensure that these farmers get that amount of money per box for their coffee. All right, and I was saying, if this is possible, then this would be really good for the farmers. So the first person came to my mind was former senator, and let me say it another way, former PNP Senator Norman Grant, because Mr. Grant was a former president of the Jamaica Agricultural Society. I think he is the president, don't quote me on this, but I think he's the president and CEO for the Wallingford Coffee Association. And I also think he is the president of the Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association. So Minister Grant would be well placed, or have a lot of knowledge whether or not it is possible that these farmers should be or could be getting nothing less than $22,000 per box for their coffee. So this was in the media and nationwide news network, and we have to give credit to Cliff Hughes and his team over there at Nationwide for really taking up this issue, because issues like these is what really need to be properly explained to the Jamaican people. I listen to Nationwide. There's a caller, I think his name is Fox, that lives up in Blue Mountain, that call Cliff Hughes regularly complaining about the price of coffee. So I am sure that somebody like Fox hearing Mr. Williams saying that $22,000 per box for coffee was possible, that would have really put some credibility to what he wants. So, as I said, Cliff Hughes and his team invited Mr. Williams and I think Mr. David Shirley to to his program to really dive into the whole possibility of these coffee producers, coffee farmers getting $22,000 per box for their coffee. So one of Mr. Hughes' guests was the chairman and CEO of the Jamaica Coffee Corporation Limited, Mr. David Shirley. So here is Mr. Shirley introducing himself and just giving a quick view.
Really?
Yes, Cliff. Thank you for bringing me on this morning. Let me just first say that coffee cherry is a key ingredient to producing the coffee, and we understand the struggles of the farmers. We are farmers also. We're not just traders. Our company, we actually grow, produce, process, and export. We've been in the business for well over 45 years. My brother and myself, Stephen, have taken over from our father, St. Clair Shirley, who is 90 years old and still strong and actually up in the mountains today with the coffee farmers and has a great relationship with the farmers. Mm-hmm. So I just firstly want to say that the farmers are a key part of the whole process. But that is only part of the process, Cliff. The coffee cherry and the growing of the coffee cherry is just a part of the process to how we get to the box and how we get to the sales process. All right? Mm-hmm. In terms of the whole chain of the coffee chain, you have the growing of the coffee, you have the logistics of the coffee, getting it to the processing factory. You have to process the coffee, which has different stages: wet processing, dry processing, resting, and then finally getting the coffee ready for export. The listeners might want to know that Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee is one of the most renowned coffees in the world, and that is mainly due to two factors. The Japanese help us to market that coffee over the years, and two, the government of Jamaica, JACRA, formerly the Coffee Board, has a very stringent certification process that is well recognized in the specialty coffee arena. So I said this to say, Cliff, that there are different stages from just the farmer to getting this coffee sold on the world market. Now, I would love to hear from Mr. Williams how he came up with that $22,000 per box. But I am here to tell you that, you know, as a farmer ourselves, if I was getting $22,000 a box, I would shut down the rest of the operation and just sell the box. Yeah, that's just my opinion, because the true cost in producing.
So there you have Mr. Shirley giving his opening comment, and he's asking questions of Mr. Williams. That boy, he'd really be interesting in finding out how he would be able to pay that $22,000 per boxes for the coffee. Here again is Mr. Williams.
Skip and tell you details around it, but to tell you exactly what's the formula used, what they do to determine this $10,000. Are you paying $11,000 a box? What is the formula the government use? I'm talking about the government now. The regulators, rather. The regulator, what the formula the regulator use. We haven't said that as yet. And I think that should be the foundation of our conversation.
Well, let him answer that.
Yeah, man.
Mr. Shirley, what is the formula you use?
Mr. Williams. Yes, man, sure, thanks. First of all, the government doesn't set the price. You have to remember that the government...
Oh, you mean the government doesn't set the price?
Doesn't set the price. They don't give you a benchmark for the price, Mr. Hughes. The government just owns the brand. They set the guidelines for the industry in terms of quality, etc. And they are the exporters. Once you deliver it to JACRA, they handle the shipping and the export to your customer. Sales, marketing, everything is a dealer. To be a dealer, the regulations stated that you need to produce 10,000 boxes of coffee. It was subsequently reduced to 6,000 boxes of coffee to be a dealer, to be able to export, right? But the coffee board does not, JACRA does not set the price. So what happens is that based on demand, as you mentioned, I think, on your program, based on demand from the different overseas buyers, right, the farmer will set an initial price, and then there will be negotiations. Now, if Jamaica Coffee goes out and buy at $5,000 today, but another exporter has more demand, he's going to go to my same customer and say, hey, I'll give you 5.5. Then they're going to call me and say, Mr. Man, offering 5.5, what you can do? And it's like a stock market cliff, right? And it's very unstable for me in my position in the company. It is hard for me to create a stable platform to sell this product. I'm not kidding you. It's a challenge. I mean, I'm on the phone with Japan.
So, viewers and subscribers, before I comment, I'm going to go back to the original statement that Mr. Williams made. Hear Mr. Williams again. I just want to play this back one more time for you to hear what Mr. Williams said, and then I'm going to comment.
The first thing we have to do is look to the hills. Those coffee farmers who's getting only $10,000 a box for coffee, and I need this wicked Jamaica Labour Party government, and they have a lazy MP who's not saying nothing about it. We're going to fix that. When PNP leave office in 2016, coffee price was ranging between 14,000 and 16,000. Well, let's adjust that now for inflation, based on inflation. It will be about 22,000. Underneath my watch, no coffee farmer will receive less than $22,000 a box for coffee.
So, viewers and subscribers, you hear Mr. Williams saying that under this Jamaica Labour Party government, which he was employing, that the government would have some control over the setting of the price of coffee. Now, as you heard in the previous clip from Mr. Shirley, the government does not set the prices of coffee. It is basically a free market. People negotiate their prices. So with Mr. Williams, well, Mr. Shirley said that the farmers are being presently paid $11,000 per boxes for the coffee, which again is counteracting Mr. Williams' allegation. But what I'm saying, viewers and subscribers, these are the things that we need to be careful about, because I listened to Mr. Williams on Cliff Hughes' program, and for the entire time that he was on, he was not able to say how he would ensure that these farmers are paid $22,000 per boxes. Based on my understanding, there's a lot of things that goes into the production of these coffee berries, and sometimes is volume, how much boxes you have can be a negotiating tool for you. So if you can supply, say, 50 boxes per acre or 100 boxes per acre, you would be in a better position to negotiate your prices. And it is at this point It is at this point I am calling on former Senator Mr. Norman Grant to come on one of these programs and bring some clarification to this issue. Mr. Grant, can coffee farmers in 2025, with all that is happening in the market now, be given $22,000 per box for their coffee? I would love to get your knowledgeable and expert opinion on this. But for now, viewers and subscribers, people of Jamaica, Mr. Williams has misled the audience, has misled coffee farmers by trying to imply that the government of Jamaica has anything to do with the setting of the price of coffee. The government does not set coffee prices. That is where I'm going to leave it this week for the program. Just on a programming note, I'm not sure if I will be on next week because I'll be traveling and I don't know what the internet or whatever will be like. But if it's possible, I will be on. But if not, for sure, God's willing, I'll see you soon. All right, all the best. Stick and stay with the view as we build this channel to explore truth in our politics, especially in an election here. All the best. Come on, viewers and subscribers, hit that notification bell. Share with your friends, share with your groups, and let us continue to explore truth in Jamaica's politics. See you next time.